Hello, everyone. Let's see what's sharing. Okay. Emma, can you try to share the screen, please?
Yes.
Sometime you know it.
Yeah. Okay.
Should work because I adjusted the setting. It should be okay.
Let's see. Let's see. Looks like it should work.
Yeah. Okay, it works.
Perfect. Perfect.
Okay, good. So let's wait some minutes. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
It's okay. Now Mongolian again started the restriction with the traveling because with the new variant again started. They just removed the quarantine for people who are vaccinated and get in Mongolia like a month ago. Already they put it back now because the new variant. But here is decreasing the number of contagious. It's
decreasing or increasing?
Decreasing.
Decreasing.
The
Okay.
positive, yeah.
That's
now
good.
It's like 300 per day, I guess, something like this.
Okay. So in Mongolia, is there a lot of people getting vaccinated, or is it a big population?
But no, quite enough. But the problem is that the first 2 doses were mainly Chinese one.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work much.
Okay.
Now they start with the Pfizer.
Yeah.
Hopefully should work a little better. But anyway, here, the population is quite young. Like average is 25. Already I'm very old, for instance.
Okay.
I had the right to get the Pfizer because I was old. They give to the older one Pfizer.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And then already I'm so that's not much people finish to the hospital. I mean, so even the how to say the health system is not great, but fortunately people is young, so not don't take it bad.
Okay, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, no, it's not that bad.
That's good.
Was a period like 3 months ago was quite bad because I have like 3,000 per day.
Mm-hmm.
With this population is not huge, it's 2 million. So. And that was a bit bad because every day was some people dying like that.
Yeah.
Now is quite was some misunderstanding because Anna later is not here, but later we should list on the registration. She's coming. Okay. Because I make some misunderstanding with the time zone.
Okay.
Because put 13 UK time.
Yeah.
But was not aware about the time zone changing.
All right.
Yeah. And then refer to the Russian time with the old time.
Yeah. Okay.
It didn't convert correctly.
Oh no.
So many people from the Russian range connected 1 hour ago.
Oh really? Oh no.
That was the problem. I said, no, use one time zone.
Yes. I think it's always difficult, especially when you're working with so many different time zones, to know to
get
the time zone correctly. Yeah.
No, always one, and then each one check.
Yeah.
Like
I think sorry.
No, like me, I check every time.
Yeah.
Like London time zone because I get confused. Even with the Italian one, you think.
Yeah. Because Italian one is the same as Sweden, I think.
Maybe
it's 1 hour
plus one. Yeah.
Plus one from UK time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's the same as here. I think that the tricky one is we have a project with red pandas in Nepal. So they are, I think, 3 hours and 45 minutes before us.
Even 45 minutes.
Yeah.
To make easy, that's
no.
Why 15 minutes?
I don't know why the 15 minutes.
1 hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like 1 hour, 45 minutes, 33 seconds. Right?
Exactly.
To increase the challenge.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, okay, Anna should be that Anna. Are you Anna? I don't know. Then I see only.
Wonder which Anna. I saw Sarah was there. Sarah is a
What?
colleague of mine. But she disappeared again.
These ones on, I don't know, but look like from your area. Right. And then Kavi, I don't know as well, but it's a kind of nickname, I guess. Because type they many times. Kavi, yeah, cannot be. I wait another bit. Let's see what that. Yeah, still is not the time anyway.
Yeah.
You have to wait.
So are you traveling back to Italy over Christmas, or are you staying in Mongolia?
No, stay here. No, because I went in September and then they did 10 days. To stay spend the 20 days in Italy, of which 10 days in quarantine.
When in Mongolia or in?
No, first when I went to Italy, it was 10 days in quarantine. Then 10 days free and 10 days in quarantine when I was in Mongolia. Then I said, okay. In 1 month, I stay like 20 days. In the season, I said, better not.
Yeah.
Christmas, I will have to go. And then, wait, had quite a lot of field work in and out during this month. Also to do the interview.
Okay, yeah.
For our stuff.
Yeah.
Plus taking the some camera, not the camera, changing the batteries in the same.
Yeah.
They're not really the same area, because to find the 37 person had to travel a lot, because they moved during this period out of the mountain the most. And so fortunately we work with the one biologist as a bachelor degree. Or from there, living there, born there, growing up there, everything. And then she knows everyone, even I don't know, like 50 kilometers far. Like changing the street, like from, for instance, ours by Anjou, they go to another province, they know anyway.
Okay.
They say, oh, no, that one moved 30 kilometers over there, and then they find the gap. I don't know.
Okay.
With the GPS, I will not find. They find the gap by memory, and then we're able to find the people living at least some period of the year in the mountains where there is more.
Okay.
Or even sometimes there is some rock outcrop in summer, for instance, in the summer living area, something like that. Because in Mongolia they change. That's the problem to do.
They move around.
Yeah, this kind of a project in Mongolia. They always change. And that was good anyway. Good information. I told you. Soon I will send. Did you got the photos? The last photos?
I got the photos. Yeah, they were brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
So you see how under rock they go. That was one. Was very beautiful photo.
Yeah.
But believe me, it was like 25 centimeters. Under the shelter. Like I had the difficulty to put the camera. No need to fix the camera with anything. Just
you just press it in there.
To rock, up and down. And there they go there during the day. So then that's unbelievable, but good. At least we found a way to find a good number of now.
Yeah, that's really good.
Right.
Looks like there's a question in the chat.
Already? No. To me, no. I don't see any question. Do you?
No, it was to me. Oh, sorry. Can we please share the passcode of this meeting? The password?
There should be about. Okay, I will find now and share here. Okay, let's see. We'll find and share. Just a second. Meeting ID is here.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Actually, I have joined this through mobile, but I want to join through a laptop. That's why I need the passcode. Now I got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah, I thought Gustav shared there.
Okay, I think the passcode I found now. There is too many information. I copied the invitation, so there is. but it's coming. Okay.
Yeah, I think Gustav shared if it works. 19.
Gustav already shared.
Hello, Emma. I'm Julia.
Hi, Julia.
I'm interpreting.
Okay.
Yeah, Gustav.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Where are you? Are you in Sweden?
Yes. Yes. In the west coast of Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
How
What
about
is the
you?
temperature in Sweden now?
Down, because we're fairly down south, but it's still cold. We have between 5 and 10 minus. But up north, it's closer to minus 30. So it's a big difference, but depending on where you are in the country.
Yeah, of course.
Mm. I'm in Devon in the west coast,
Okay.
southwest of UK, and it's above zero, but very windy. Another storm.
Okay.
Coming up. I know in Ireland schools are closed today.
Oh, really?
Schools are shut, yeah, because of the storm. Not here.
No. Now here we have actually quite a lot of snow, also here in the south. So it's very wintry.
I miss snow. Yeah, I'm from Siberia. I was born there and really miss snowy winters.
Yeah. Oh, minus 14.
I win, I guess.
No way.
Offer less, minus what?
Yes,
No,
14.
okay.
Hi, everyone.
5 minutes.
Hi, Mohammed. Nice seeing you.
Okay. Since people are still coming, I will wait some minutes, like a couple of minutes. And then
You can wait a few minutes.
Yes, hello from Scotland as well.
Do you have a storm as well?
Not yet, but I think it's coming.
Mm.
Yeah.
okay,
So it's only -2 over here. So I was outside and I was freezing, but we've established it. There's winners on how cold it is already.
Any snow there?
A little, yeah, not much. I think there's some coming tonight, but yeah, hopefully won't be too much of a problem.
Okay.
Hello, Anna, as well.
Hello.
How are you?
I see you are not in T-shirt, yes. But we are in Siberia. It is warm at our houses.
Inside dome, me too, look. Inside dome is
In
easy.
Mongolia, it is very hot at houses.
I could have been in a t-shirt, but our Aga broke down, so it's quite chilly.
Broke down.
So that's the heating, yeah.
Here, house are warmed like crazy. You have to slow down the heater because it's exhausted. Yeah, like 35 degrees inside home. And you see me here in t-shirt, and then when I'm in Palermo, that is in South Italy, is like I don't know, now will be like 15 degrees likely, plus 15, and then I with the like David with the jacket inside home.
Well, we have quite a warm office, but I'm in a small room to the side, and there's no heater in here. So while I've got the heating next door, so it's fine there. But when I came in here, I had to put my jacket on. I'm not built for the cold weather, I don't think.
You can change.
You live in the wrong side of the world.
Okay. From me, whenever you want, you can start. It's up to you if you want to wait another couple of minutes or start.
Maybe we can start, and whoever joins.
Okay.
I'm getting my calendar says there is meeting, but it's not starting. So Kuban, maybe we should send that, because I'm getting an email from Kuban that he can't get in.
Maybe you suggested to send again the email?
Yeah.
The invitation?
Okay, good idea.
Okay.
Well, I think he's in now.
He's in now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask you before you start, do we actually need interpreting? Because
No.
well, I'm happy to stay and start if someone just joins later and needs it. Okay. But if we don't need it for now, it's fine. Would save time.
Then we'll do it in, I just have to get one more thing going here. Sorry.
Hello, everyone. The calendar was showing wrong address. I was waiting for a meeting there. And I saw Niraj joined and then left. And I restarted and it's now connecting. Something is wrong with the link.
Okay.
Кубан, это я ошиблась со временем с московским.
Меня правильно показывает, просто адрес, там два адреса, по-моему.
Адреса было два, да?
Да,
Ну,
по-моему,
не знаю,
там,
может,
там не только я, там еще Нираж зашел, подождал и ушел.
Понятно. Ну, не знаю, я, по крайней мере, по последней заходила.
So what do you think? Should I start or should we?
I think you can start. The worst, if someone loses one or two slides, we can select it. Yeah.
Okay, but then I'll start. So hi everyone, and thank you for having us here today. My name is Emma, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm the project manager for Pallas International Conservation Alliance. And today we're just going to give you a brief overview of what Pica is doing to work with Pallas on a global scale. But I thought I first would just introduce the team. Most of us are actually here today, so we will be able to answer, join in after the presentation, and you can ask questions to all of us. But first is David Barclay, who's ex-situ conservation manager at the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland. He's working with specialized on felid population management and conservation. He's also the international and European studbook keeper for the Pallas cat. Then we have Dr. Helen Sen, who is the head of conservation and science program at the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland. And finally, from Scotland and the Society, there's also Katarzyna Ruta, who is the conservation project officer at the Society. And from Sweden, then we have myself, Emma. I work at an organization called Nordens Ark in Sweden, where I'm the head of conservation program. And we also have Dr. Gustav Samelius, who's the assistant director of science at Snow Leopard Trust. So we're a quite small team and mostly based in Scotland and in Sweden. So the Pica project was born out of a tripartite agreement that was established in 2015 between Nordens Ark in Sweden, the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland, and Snow Leopard Trust.
I'm really sorry to interrupt.
Emma, so you should enlarge the slide, because we see
your slides are not sharing properly, Emma.
Okay. How do I do that then? So you're just seeing this, or?
No, you see that, also the other slide on the sides. So you should go to, I don't know, is this Swedish, animeringar och bildspel, and then and then do the visualization.
Emma, if in the bottom right, if you put it, maybe you've tried it and it's been funny, but the wee present mode in the bottom right, you know the icon for the screen.
Because I have that now.
Are you on dual monitors?
No, I'm not.
Maybe just try and log off, and maybe it's sharing another screen. Maybe it is, just try and unshare and
Reshare.
share.
Yeah.
No, I think it's not. Hang on. You think that you should be better on this when you do it. I think maybe now.
Okay. Maybe if you do that friend Borghand, I don't know how to read that.
How about now?
We still see the slides on the side, like the coming slides, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think now you're in the right menu. Like it should.
In the lower margin, on the right hand side, it's 60%. So you should increase it to the middle. You should drag the cursor. It's just showing there in order to increase the size of the slide.
Is on the way, yeah.
Emma, do either of us have the presentation, and we can share it and then?
I don't think so. Hang on. I think I know what to do. Or I can just send it to you, maybe. I know there's a short command to change the screens, but I can't remember it. Sarah, are you here? I think you know the short command, right?
Funkar det inte om du trycker på det använd föredragshållarvy?
Nej, det är den, för den hade jag inne. Och då blev det inte det.
Precis, om du trycker på den där lilla skärmen som ser ut som en diaskärm, eller man ska säga.
Ja, det har jag gjort, tycker jag.
Ja, det händer, okej.
Och det funkar inte heller om du trycker på den uppe till vänster där från början. Starta bildspelet.
Den här, eller?
Nej, till vänster.
Alltså till vänster. Längst till vänster där. Från...
En till, två till den.
Yeah.
Den verkar liksom inte koppla riktigt.
Men för vad är kortkommando när man det är kontroll?
Det vet inte jag. Kortkommandona.
This is very strange. We'll try one more time, and if it doesn't work, I think I have to send this to someone. Det ska inte vara föredragsvy. Det funkar fortfarande inte, eller?
Nej, vi ser inte bildspelet. Ser du bildspelet?
Ja, jag ser. Så det är att den är speglad. Det är det. Och jag kommer inte ihåg vart man ändrar speglingen. Det är det.
Okay.
Det är inställningar, men...
Try please F5. It may work.
F5?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And still not, or?
No.
Works for me. It's just not the full screen, but as you can see most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can increase that percentage, can you? On the right button, yeah, at least we see this bigger. But it's covered by that. Yeah, exactly. Another bit.
Then we just get it.
Okay.
You
It's fine.
Let's do this.
Yeah, no, perfect.
That's
Okay.
old
Up to
school.
that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, agree. Okay, like this. Perfect.
We try like that instead.
Perfect.
Sorry for that, guys.
Mhm.
Okay, so you've met the team and now you've heard us talking Swedish as well, which is, oh no, you can't do that. You have to do. Okay, so anyway, Pica was established in 2015, or the agreement was established, and then we received funding in 2016 from Foundation Segre and began a 3-year project. The overall aim of the project is to enhance conservation and research effort of Pallas cats through capacity building, research, and global planning. During the first phase of the project, we had the following 4 main objectives. So to improve the knowledge of distribution and monitoring techniques, increase knowledge on basic ecology to aid conservation plans, raise awareness and conservation capacity, and design strategies for a global conservation plan. So the Pica project is the first global project dedicated to the Pallas cat conservation and research. As I said, it's currently funded by Foundation Segre, but is also funded by several global zoological collections. Pica works to connect captive breeding programs with field programs and to be a positive example of the conservation planning specialist group's one plan approach. One of our main aims is to enhance global collaboration between all Pallas cat stakeholders to help develop global conservation efforts. To do this, we have throughout the project engaged extensively with the maнулa working group, with the IUCN cat specialist group, with field researchers, zoo collections, and a range of small cat specialists. As I said, one of the key objectives of Pica is to connect ex situ conservation efforts from zoological collections across the globe with in situ conservation and research projects taking place across the Pallas cat range. So financial support from zoological collection is used in conjunction with the wider Pica objectives and allow individuals' collection to directly connect with field projects across the range. And in return for the support, zoos receive updates, images, videos from different field projects, which are shared with their staff members and zoo visitors, which in turn helps raise more awareness and hopefully also more support for the species. At the moment, we are currently supported by 18 global institutions around the globe, and that has increased funding to more than $50,000 plus US. So with a big network, you can really make a big difference. So during the first 3 years, what did we accomplish? So we set out to deliver several objectives, ranging from education and awareness, species-specific research, to capacity building and global strategic planning. Thanks to the partnership with Snow Leopard Trust, we had access to their entire camera trapping database used for snow leopards across Central Asia. By using snow leopards bycatch data and screening over 400,000 images covering 6 different range countries, specifically for Pallas cat, we have been able to document new presence records for the species in Mongolia and also confirm records within Kyrgyzstan. To improve our knowledge on threat and local knowledge, we compiled and translated and distributed a standardized survey across the range. In collaboration with several researchers and also Snow Leopard Trust field teams, we were able to support an extensive review of the Pallas cat threats by compiling the result of over 450 surveys covering 5 range countries. Data from the threat survey was included in the IUCN Pallas cat status review. And the results from this work also highlighted that across the range that there's a poor understanding of what the Pallas cat is, what the role they play in the environment, but also their impact, the impacts on their population. Besides this, we also develop education materials, which was translated into 10 languages, 6 of which are range country languages. They are freely available to download on the Pica website. Pica also developed a children's book in collaboration with United for Literacy and the IUCN CAT Specialist Group. This was also translated into 2 range country languages and is available online with narration and was printed for distribution in the field. In collaboration with Snow Leopard Trust and their field team in Mongolia and also the National University of Mongolia, we sponsored a master student in undertaking 2-year field study in the South Gobi. She was using education material and the threat knowledge survey to evaluate the impact of using educational resources. The result of her work indicated a significant increase in awareness and knowledge of the Pallas cat following the delivery of the education material, which is probably something we all assumed, but it has rarely been evidenced in data before. And the 3 years of the Pica, the first 3 of the Pica project ended with the development of the Pallas cat status review and the first conservation strategy for the species. So by working collectively with the extensive network, of course, many members of the Manual Working Group, IUCN Cat Specialist Group, and a wide range of small cat specialists, Pica assisted in the coordination and delivery of the work with the status review. So the conservation strategy was developed during a global action planning workshop, which was held in Nordenskär in Sweden in 2018. The status review publication details the most current and extensive data on Pallas cat status, ecology, distribution, conservation efforts, and also, of course, the conservation strategy for the species. So in 2020, we then received a 3-year extension of the original project. And during this project period, we will continue to focus on capacity building, awareness, facilitating collaboration, and implementing global conservation action. The project is focusing on the main activities you see on the screen here. So we're supporting the activities of the Manual Working Group as a global alliance for the conservation of Pallas cats. We're supporting conservation projects addressing the most urgent conservation needs. We're continuing to raise global awareness and developing a funding mechanism to secure long-term sustainability. And we're connecting the global, or working to connect the global strategy with policymakers across the range. So it's a lot of activities that's happening since we're mid-term this 3-year project now. And I'm just going to present the most active ones that we're working with at the moment. Last year, we launched the Pica Small Grant Program. It's a program that's aimed at encouraging project focus on addressing priority conservation needs relating to objective 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the Pallas cat conservation strategy. We have so far had 2 call for proposals and received a total of 21 applications, and we've managed to support 7 of these in the following range countries you see on the screen. We are also working to investigate and mitigate cause of Pallas cat mortality on a local scale, which will later become part of a more global review. As part of that, we have designed a study mainly focusing on the threat of the domestic dog, since this threat was identified in the status review as being one of the main threats to Pallas cats. And we're working and supporting partners in Kyrgyzstan, Nepal, and Mongolia. And the project is aimed at examining the relative cause of Pallas cat mortality on a local scale to develop and test methods to mitigate the threats of killing by free-ranging dogs. And we're currently in the first stage of the study where questionnaire-based surveys are being done to learn more about the threat at the local level. And the next step will be to, in collaboration with local partners and communities, develop and test mitigations, depending on what threat we find. Finally, together with several members of the Manual Working Group and also other specialists, we are working to develop guidelines on best practice for monitoring of abundance and distribution of the Pallas cat. As you all know, it's especially challenging to monitor the Pallas cat's reliable because of the vast distribution, the secretive nature of the species, and also the lack of unique pelt patterns to allow individual identification. So to ensure that the monitoring of the Pallas cat is robust and comparable between range countries, we are supporting the development of a guideline for best practice monitoring technique. The guideline will cover things like field signs, camera trapping, environmental DNA sampling. And when finished, it will be translated into multiple languages and made freely available also on the Pica website. We have continued to translate the education material into additional languages, the material that was developed during the first Pica project. And it's now available in, I think it's 20 different languages, with where 14 of them are range country languages. We've been working to develop a funding stream from zoological collections. And despite the pandemic, we're actually very happy to see that many zoos are sticking by and continuing to support Pallas cat conservation. As you might know, many zoos have been hit hard due to the pandemic, but we're thrilled to see that we also have increased number of supporters and newly, I think just in the last few weeks, had a few more key supporters that are supporting the project now, so which is great. So one of the main issues to ensure the long-term protection of the Pallas cat within range countries. So one of the top priorities of Pica is to connect the conservation strategy with policymakers throughout the range, and for the strategy to be considered for the development of national action plans. So one of the ways we try to do this is to formalize and include Pallas cat under the GSLEP umbrella. So GSLEP is the Global Snow Leopard and Ecosystem Protection Program. Why we're choosing to work with GSLEP is that with the long-term vision to protect snow leopards through addressing high mountain development issue and a close relationship with policymakers of all range countries, which are very similar to many of the range countries for the Pallas cat, GSLEP can be an important vehicle for Pallas cat conservation and engagement. Geographically, this makes sense, given the extent of overlap between the ranges of snow leopards and Pallas cat. And even if there are two different species, of course, the conservation benefits and the threat mitigations can be easily extended to include both species. And it provides a unique opportunity for joint conservation efforts to mix or to join a large cat and a small cat to have the synergistic impacts that will have synergetic effects for the snow leopard, the Pallas cat, and their mountain ecosystem as a whole. Originally, we did plan to attend the annual GSLEP steering committee meetings to make contact with GSLEP members and also to introduce the Pallas cat. But unfortunately, the pandemic hindered that, of course, making traveling impossible. And because of this, the two past GSLEP meetings were changed to an online event instead. We did, however, manage to attend both meetings and have held sessions on Pallas cat conservation and introduced the idea of joint conservation effort on snow leopard and Pallas cat, and the possibility of including Pallas cat under the GSLEP umbrella. This was the first time Pallas cat was introduced to the GSLEP community, and it's been an important opportunity not only to increase the awareness of the Pallas cat, but also a great opportunity to start the process of including Pallas cat in future range country management plans. So in preparation for the meeting, we developed various content. Sorry, we developed various content to have in an information kiosk. And one of the things we did was this video, which I think probably best summarize our message, our key message. I'm hoping this will work now when all other technology has not, so we'll see. Please let me know if you can't see this video or can't hear it.
This is a Pallas's cat. Also known as the maнулa, these small cats live throughout the steppes and mountain grasslands of Central Asia. This unique species has a very distinctive look. With its short legs, stocky, compact body, and long fur, it is perfectly adapted to the cold winter conditions that are typical of its mountainous habitat. The Pallas's cat relies heavily on picas, a small, hair-like animal which makes up around 50% of its diet. The other half consists of small mammals like marmots and birds. The elusive Pallas's cat has very specific habitat requirements, and this makes it an important indicator of ecosystem health. However, it is this reliance on specific conditions that also makes the Pallas's cat vulnerable to a range of threats. And even though the species is not at imminent risk of extinction globally, its distribution is fragmented, and local populations are often small, isolated, and in decline.
The threats to the Pallas's cat come from habitat degradation and fragmentation, infrastructure development, but also predation from dogs or accidental trapping. A lack of awareness for the Pallas's cat is also a problem and hinders effective conservation efforts and management. Collaborative and transnational research and conservation efforts are therefore vital for safeguarding the Pallas's cat. And this amazing small cat species is also a critical component of the unique biodiversity of the landscapes of Central Asia.
The Pallas's cat shares the same mountain habitats with the snow leopard, and sadly the two species face similar threats. Consequently, the methods and benefits of addressing pressures affecting snow leopards in their fragile habitats will be easily extended to the Pallas's cat, and vice versa.
Leopards and Pallas cats. These are both good indicators of the health of the mountain ecosystems. As the top predators, the stable population of the snow leopards means the good numbers of large wild mammals, and the stable population of Pallas cats indicates the abundance of the small prey species.
By extending GSLEP to advocate for the Pallas's cat, the programme will not only protect the health and functioning of these fragile mountain ecosystems, but will also safeguard a number of additional species that fall under the wings of these two indicator species. Pallas's cats in your country need help. Will you be an ambassador for this charismatic cat?
I hope that was visible, and I hope I didn't cough my way all through it, so sorry for that. So for the GSEP meeting, we also did additional education material like the two infographic here, where we summarize the, the findings of the status review, and also did species information of the Pallas cat. And one thing I really want to highlight is, so here is a post from the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland during the GSLEP meeting, where they did a post on Pallas cat. And I'm sure most of you also already know this, that when you do a post about Pallas cat, it always goes viral on social media. So this post, for instance, was one of the most engaged posts ever on social media, on the Royal Zoological Society's Facebook channel. And this is something we really also see on Norden's channel, and something is we should utilize more to raise awareness for this species. Another thing we've done for raise awareness is also that we work with partners to promote and celebrate the Pallas cat by arranging International Pallas Cat Day. The first was organized in 2019, and the date, the 23rd of April, was adopted from the ERASA, the Eurasia Regional Associations of Zoos and Aquaria institution, who had already celebrating a day for Pallas cats regionally. And so far, we're seeing really good engagement for this day as well. These are just two examples I found when Googling online that people are celebrating this cat on this day, which is great because it raises more awareness. Sorry. So when it comes to our plans and hopes for the future of the project and the Pallas cat, we're hoping to continue to support targeted conservation actions through the Pica Small Grant Program, and working to establish a funding stream and continue to secure the long-term sustainability of this program. We also want to continue to develop the relationship with GSLEP and work to get the Pallas cat incorporated into regional and national management plans. Next week, we're also looking to organize an online workshop on grant and report writing. And this workshop will be a 2-hour online Zoom seminar scheduled for Tuesday the 14th, 3 o'clock Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan time. And the workshop will provide tips and techniques, experience, and an open platform for targeted discussion. And I can send or put the link for the workshop in the chat, or any of my Pica colleagues can put a link in the chat for those of you who wants to join. And all of the actions that I've talked about today, and all of the action that Pica are doing, are aimed at the ultimate goal of safeguarding the Pallas cat across its range. Pica strives to enhance the profile of these wonderful, unique small cats. Too long, we feel that the small cat species of the world have lived in the shadows of their larger cousins. But we will continue to wave the small cat flag and support dedicated researchers and conservationists across range countries. And as long as we do that, the closer we are to ensuring their survival for future generations. So that was just a brief overview of the Pica project. So sorry for the technicalities that weren't working during this presentation, but I hope most of it worked anyway. So that was it from my side. So please, if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer those, or any of my colleagues.
There was a question, can raise the hand or speak directly.
Can I ask a question?
Okay, Mohammed, then maybe Ibra has a question. Okay.
Yeah.
Mohammed.
Thank you, Emma. That was very useful and interesting. And thank you for all the effort and support you have provided to all of us. So I realize that you are extending some collaboration with GSLEP under the snow leopard Pallas cat. And you may know that there is more or less similar initiative happening for the Persian leopard in West Asia. And it's now, I think, so basically it's from Kazakhstan all the way to Caucasus and Turkey. So I think apart from Turkey and perhaps Iraq, that we have no evidence of Pallas cat, the rest are basically within the range of the Pallas cat. So in that way, we can, so it's under the CAMI, the Central Asian Mammalian Initiative, and the CMS. So it's going to be endorsed by all the range countries. So it's more or less at this, not at the same level of the GSLEP, because it doesn't have a secretariat, but it tries to give and secure some political willing and support for Persian leopards and transboundary conservation of the animal. So I was wondering that maybe not now, but maybe in the next year that this initiative is more finalized. We can extend that GSLEP experience into West Asia as part of the Persian leopard conservation and the Pallas cat as well, because more or less they are living in the same places, mountains.
Thank you, Mohammed. Yeah, that would be really fantastic because, as you said, I mean, the GSLEP doesn't extend to the western region of the Pallas cat, so it would be great if you can utilize that network as well and use. I mean, we have developed a lot of material, as I said, to combine the Pallas cat and the snow leopard, and that could be easily done. Change the snow leopard and find the similarities with the Persian leopard as well. That would be really good. Do you know if you will have any like larger meetings planned?
So currently we are developing a joint sort of action plan and biological background for these species, and it's so it's led by Urs and Christine under the CMS. So the first draft would be a combination of about 15 papers, and it's about the Persian leopard status, monitoring, prey, everything in all those range countries. And it covers countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, and Caucasian countries, Russia, Central Asian countries. And then that combination of the papers would be a special issue in the Cat News, maybe next year. And then it's going to be submitted to the range countries for through the CMS to be endorsed by those range countries. And I think at the next stage, it would be some sort of funding and resources and training to be under this. So that's more or less the way that we are. It's already 1 year past. We are working together, and I think at least another year will be needed to finalize the whole process.
Okay, Ibra, you have a question?
Yeah, just a little one. In the slide number 11, you show. Thank you, Emma, for the presentation, and very nice. I love it. And yeah, I would like to know about the distribution of the Pallas cat that you showed to us. And I saw a little different between the UCN one. You know why? Maybe you have to review a little bit the distribution of the Pallas cat.
Sorry, which slide were you thinking about?
About in the slide number 11. Where you show the distribution of the.
Okay, when we have the one mixing.
Yeah, with the
snow leopard and Pallas cat, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that one we covered. I think maybe David can help me out here because we did that for the GSLEP meeting.
Yeah, I
visualize. So I don't think it's really 100% exact with the IUCN ones, but because we've done that, because it's your team, David, who did it, right? So it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blame my team. I think
blame your team.
I can't remember when we did it. It's at least a couple of years ago now. But it may have been the previous a sort of a simple generalization of the previous IUCN Red List assessment before we did the status review. I think we were just trying to capture a sort of very simple overview of the similarities in range. So it might not have all the very specific points on it. But I think it was probably before the status review. Because it was 2 years, I think, ago we first presented it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. I do a question. Okay. Of course, we know that snow leopard and Pallas cat share some part of habitat in the mountain foothills, but of course the habitat of Pallas cat, I would say the main habitat is on the low mountain across the steppe. Plus, there is a new study that is impressed. Me and Ibra are co-author on this. Should be already proof editing, so should be out very soon. Where we work on the analyze the co-occurrence of Pallas cat and livestock in 4 different sites in the Altai. And we saw that actually the Pallas cat co-occur positively with the livestock in the mountain foothill where the snow leopard occur. Because that study was designed for snow leopard, and And then since we have a good number of data about the Pallas cat, we did this analysis. And we saw that actually the Pallas cat co-occur positively with the livestock. My idea is, according to my small experience also in the step, is that maybe Pallas cat prefer to stay close to people, livestock, human activity, because the threat for large carnivores may be reduced. And actually from another paper, which is in review, we saw that the co-occurrence, how to say, is negatively affected for wild species by the body size, which means the larger one co-occur negatively with the livestock, instead the smallest one co-occur positively. So I think the, how to say, the livestock and human presence can be a threat after a certain threshold, when the pressure from dog or hunting is unsustainable. If not, could be a kind of advantage for Pallas cat. That could be. So I think in these terms, of course, the treat by human can be the worst for both Pallas cat and snow leopard. But how to say, the treat are different, and probably the solution are totally different. I mean, for snow leopard, it's better human are not there. That's it, because then there is probably a conflict. For predation on livestock and retaliatory killing. For Pallas cat, instead, I think that it depends from the balance, from the compromise between protection from large carnivore due to human presence and the pressure due to human presence. That was just an introduction for a question. So, how do you think that the mitigation of the threats of snow leopard can positively affect the Pallas cat? I mean, is this the synergy we have to find with the snow leopard, or is just, how to say, since some efforts is done for snow leopard, we can use that efforts to get some presence data or what else? Do you understand what is my point?
Yeah. So I think one of the things when you look at threats and mitigation of threats that could benefit both species, you're looking at larger scale. So if you look at the whole habitat, I think if you look at more specific threats, you probably have more, the threats are more different between the two species, but to kind of preserve the whole mountain ecosystem, you have to look at both species to keep kind of a functional ecosystem there. So I think there is where you can have more effects and benefits of working with the two of them, and to get the Pallas cat into management plans together with the snow leopard.
Emma, are you happy for me to jump in as well?
Yeah, please.
I think I think you make some very, very interesting points, and I think just to cover the first point where you're looking at the co-occurrence between livestock and Pallas cat and larger carnivores, I think that sounds like a really interesting study, and it will be fascinating to see the patterns. I think it will be interesting as well, because we've spoken over the last few years, and certainly the feedback from a lot of yourselves and those working in the field, and this came up in the status review as well, looking at threat assessment, was the threat risk from herder dogs towards Pallas cat. And obviously if Pallas cats are spending more time in areas of livestock, then they are also going to be in closer connection to herder communities, and the risk of dogs would be greater. So it'd be interesting to see that dynamic. But I think in terms of looking at the sort of jumping on the back of snow leopards, and as Mohammed said, even looking at the Persian leopards, I think one thing that came out of the status review in terms of the bigger picture and the long-term sustainable conservation efforts for Pallas cats is that they almost exclusively across the range, there's no representation of Pallas cats in bigger habitat landscape scale management plans. And I think I think there will be some crossover, as Emma says, between conservation efforts for snow leopards and Pallas cats, but I think just by making that connection between Pallas cats and snow leopards and Pallas cats and Persian leopards, it means that hopefully the governments would be more aware of the species, and even if there's not sort of any specific large conservation objectives, just including Pallas cats into the official landscape scale management plans, I think would be a real big step forward, because it might be that if there's infrastructure that's going to be built and it's not within the local population of snow leopards, but there are Pallas cats there, then that would hopefully be taken into account in terms of protecting the Pallas cats and other regulations or legislation. So I think we're trying to see it as a positive vehicle to try and get Pallas cats into those bigger plans, however realistic that will be.
Maybe I'll just pop in and just a tiny bit, just like Emma was saying, it's a different scale. So on the large scale, the threats of humans are probably negative for both species. I would say they're more negative. Probably for the Pallas cats, there's probably more negative effects of people, habitat alteration, increasing livestock, negative effects on the prey and those things. Then, of course, when you get into the more nitty-gritties and the more details, yes, on a local scale, they're probably occurring in separate places. But I think also, like David was saying, yes, that's the first step to get the Pallas cats up on the table of the authorities or the politicians is a huge first step. So if we can ride on these things about the similarities, there's probably a lot to win. But yes, like you say, when you get into the details and then locally, you probably then your conservation actions probably should be different. I was thinking, or could just be, also with the positive effect of livestock. Maybe its livestock is low down, so maybe it's actually an elevational thing that the Pallas cats are generally in a low area. That's also where the livestock are. So, but it's interesting patterns. But yeah.
Yeah, no, understand. You convinced me. in the other view, yeah, like this, as you say, even because probably that to put the government to pay more attention for the species, yeah, and also habitat degradation for sure. We don't know how precisely. Probably is it easier to understand how can affect the snow leopard because competition with the prey, displacement of prey of snow leopard is easy to understand have a negative effect. With the Pallas cat is like more difficult because you have species like the Brent's wall in Mongolia, for instance, that have a population outbreak after soil degradation increase because they like the degraded soil, at least from literature come out like that. And but actually we don't know with this big, huge, how to say, fluctuation of prey, what is going to happen for Pallas cat. But for sure, I think that habitat degradation cannot affect positively the species. So in our view, yeah, I think you are right. Like, it can be a good way to start for protection. But I'm curious to understand what happened where occur snow leopard and the Pallas cat, and there is no people or there is less people, like in the Great Gobier, where I will go the next year. I don't know how, but I have to. So, by the way, I want to ask you, with that student is, I don't remember the name, that one who went in the Gurvan Saihan, right?
Tamir.
Tamir, yeah. You went to Gurvan Saihan, but you have also some record of Pallas cat in Toast Mountain, maybe Snow Leopard Trust did, right? So they reach in the south until there. Instead, in the Great Gobi, we found, with a group of Professor Samia of the National University of Mongolia also, we found a place where there is full of cat, all cat species, maybe one is missing. There's Snow leopard, the lynx, Pallas cat, and wild cat in the same mountain. It's called the Trambod. And there actually there is only the few soldiers living with their gear around the custom area. Then I'm curious there to see the interaction between Pallas cat and wild cat, and also what happened with the once there is no livestock, what happened to the ecology of Pallas cat? I'm quite curious. It's just to inform that exists this situation. Okay, some other question? Okay.
Can I ask a question, please? How long do you see your project is gonna last? Because it's 2022 for now is the final date, and what's beyond that?
Really good question. Thank you, Julia. So we have the funding from Foundation Segre now for 1 more year, and then that funding is going to end, and we don't think, at least, that we will be able to receive more funding from Foundation Segre at this point. We'll see. So most likely the project will, how to say in English, not be as large in the next couple of years. We're working on, as I mentioned, sorry?
Scale back.
Scale back, thank you. So we're working on developing this. I mean, David has been working with zoological collections before, prior to the funding from Foundation Segre, and we're working to receive more funding from zoos, and hopefully we can use that to kind of keep the Pica small grants going, and to support researchers and conservationists in range countries. But the work of our small team will probably be scaled down, I would say, after a year.
Yeah, I think that's the vision. Is we're not always going to be able to keep getting money from the funders that we do already, but we've been trying to make the connection between zoos and in situ field conservation and field research. And I think from my background and Emma's background, that's something that's really close to our hearts, because, you know, we have Pallas cats in zoos across the world, and we want to show that that they serve a purpose. And, you know, we're not going to reintroduce Pallas cats anytime soon, maybe in 20-30 years, maybe, but that's not the primary goal of the captive population just now. But what we can do is we can educate people, and we can turn the support from zoos into financial donations, and those financial donations can then support field projects across the range. So we can have a very direct connection between the zoos and the field research, and hopefully moving forward we can have not a huge pot of money. It's not going to be hundreds of thousands or anything like that, but hopefully we can have a small sustainable pot of money that keeps coming in every year, and we can distribute to people in the field that are doing the incredible work. And that's probably the sort of realistic exit strategy in terms of not having a larger funder to the project. And of course, if we can get lots of zoos giving a small bit of money, then collectively we can have quite a nice pot that can support projects.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that we will continue to try and do is to connect the conservation strategy with the policymakers, since we kind of started that with the GSLEP, and hopefully we can see if we can do something with the Persian leopard. That will be maybe Pica's prime objective to work with in the future.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it does sound positive, and I hope that with all the work that you've been doing, and it's so meaningful and so visible and based so much on grassroots efforts, that you will find a larger donor as well, not just the contributions from the zoos, which sound really good. Yeah, great. Thank you.
May I suggest one more thing? So zoos receive money from their visitors or their donors, and they like people to have to learn about what they are supporting. So one idea would be, and I think maybe you have thought about it before, but to give talks to the zoos by the individual projects. So that might work. And obviously we don't, so talks can be done over the internet, over the Zoom, which is quite easy. And we have all this presentation. So that's one way. The other one would be, I think we have some travels across the world. So if we know who is supporting us, then we can just pop in and ask and just suggest them to have a social event or event for the visitor or the donors, a night for the Pallas cat or conservation, and then give a talk just to keep them motivated and happy about the money they support.
I think that's a great idea, Mohammed. Yeah, and I think if there's any opportunity of any of you that are carrying out field research and you know are coming into Europe on a semi-regular basis or attending other conferences, and you think you may be near a collection, or you would like to see a list of zoo collections that are supporting these projects, then I can provide that, and I'm sure any zoo would bite your hand off for you to come in and talk about the work you're doing in the field.
And just so maybe a bit out of topic, but what do you think about I mean Pica team about the downlisting to list concern in the recent past? Do you think is a correct criteria that established that, or maybe that are not enough to say that?
Who goes? I'll say first, because what's interesting is obviously another role of mine is that I manage the captive breeding program for Pallas cats in zoos, and a lot of the time we think about we should only have captive breeding programs for species that are endangered or critically endangered, but it's not always true. And I think sometimes when we look at the IUCN red list status, we have to be careful and not just look at species that are critically endangered and say we need conservation action for them, because I think if you ask those involved in the red listing, they would say, well, we should have conservation action or plans for every species, not just those that are critically endangered. But I think it does make it more difficult when you have a species that is least concern and you're trying to apply for grants or get funding for research. It's just the way it is. I think that for many funders, the more endangered the species is, the sort of higher profile they see it. And that's just sort of reality. But I think what we've shown and what's really interesting with Pallas cats is that for a start, and most importantly, there's a fantastic network, and we can see part of that network today. There's an incredible network. There are some funders out there that are still keen to support Pallas cat conservation and research. We've got collaborations with the IUCN, with GSLEP and other organizations, but the species is least concerned. So I think we can show that you can have that. You can develop action plans, you can have support, you can have collaborations, and you can have a network. And it's got nothing to do with the conservation status of the species. And I think that's important because there's many other species globally, small cat species, that are more endangered, that have not got as good a network and as good a structure as here for Pallas cats. So I think the work that we do with Pallas cats could act as a very positive model for other small cat species across the globe.
I see that a few people are starting to leave. I just want to make remind people that next Tuesday we're having a workshop on grant and report writing, and it's going to be relatively basic, and we hope that you encourage co-workers, students, anyone you know that you think are interested in learning more about grant writing. It's going to be then starting from relatively basic stuff, but I think there's going to be some a few goodies for everyone, and it's 2 hours. You know, it's online, so we can't have any really practical aspects of it, but I think there will be help for people. So on the chat there is a link to it. Emma sent out an email the other day. It was sent out to everyone in the Manul working group. So please share with others. That I will hope to see as many.
On that point, Gustav, I do have to go very quickly as well. Yes. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to leave now, but I'm sure we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Hi, David. So to the workshop, everyone can participate. It's not related to my. Okay, so we can share with the.
Yes, and anyone can participate. Yeah, and especially, you know, that is, I guess, a good thing with internet. You know, we're not going to fill up the classroom, so you know, numbers are not an issue. We can, and it's the more we reach, the better. So.
Okay.
Gustav, are you putting it on Twitter as well?
Emma, you know more about that stuff. I don't know.
Okay. If you are putting it somewhere that can be publicly available, then I can forward it to the SCB Asia members as well. If you want to reach those people as well, because they are early career mostly people, so perhaps that can be useful for them.
I think unfortunately Pica don't have an official Twitter account. Do you have a Twitter, Gustav? Maybe you could share it there.
Well, I don't know how to do it, but I do have, but I have no idea.
If anyone has Twitter, you're happy to share it on Twitter. But.
It would be good, Oman, because I think early career people are really one of the main targets. You should just start one, Emma. Start a Twitter and you send it from there. We'll follow up with you, Mohammed, on that.
Yeah.
Okay, good to see you all.
It might not need a Twitter account, but if you have the information on the main website, Manul Conservation website, publish it there, and then you can send the link to whoever you think might benefit from it. So it's like private, just a suggestion.
Okay.
I can forward it to the SCB members as well.
Do you understand all this? All the computer stuff is like Greek to me, but I think you know what they're talking about. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I'm a grandpa when it comes to all that new stuff.
Good. It's very good to see you all. I need to leave, but yeah. Good.
Very nice to see you too, Mohammed.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
To meet you too.
Okay. Is there any other question or something else to add? I think we did all this time. So.
Shirin has.
Is that?
Okay, already. Shirin is a question. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. How are you? I'm sitting here with Aknabat Potaiva. She is from Kopedak Nature Reserve. You hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah.
We are glad to meet you, and we were listening for these presentations. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, she doesn't speak English, but I'm trying to translate everything into Russian and Turkmen. And we all lucky to be in this members of this small grant Pica project. As you know, we get this grant recently. And information about Turkmenistan grant is on the website. Aknabat, me, and 2 more people from another protected areas where Pica is habitat. And we started these activities on preparation the public awareness leaflet. Aknabat prepared it in Turkmen language to be distributed among local population, among rangers. And we are trying to do our observation and planning to do this in coming months. And unfortunately, country is closed, and we could not invite you to our field mission, and also Tatiana. And we hope that in spring, country is open and you can also join to our field mission, monitoring research. And we would like to thank for the donor who support this project on Pica, on manual conservation. And we will try to follow with the workshop, which is going to be held in next week. Yes, on next week. Unfortunately, the internet is not so fast and we have to, sometimes it's failed, but we are following all your recommendation and we will share with our scientific research, with publication, public awareness activities with all of you. And if you have any questions, I see Mohammed here on Persian leopard. Aknabat is also doing this work on monitoring of Persian leopard Panthera pardus in Kopedak Nature Reserve using the camera traps. So we are doing the work on different species monitoring, and the capacity of course less, and we are trying to do our best. And if you have any questions to me or Aknabat on Pica, on Manol or Persian leopard, on CMS, fortunately we now officially, as I informed in our another meeting, we are official party of CMS now. Turkmenistan joined and ratified CMS convention. And we are official party started from this year. And we will do our best to follow with the requirements of the CMS convention, and also other conventions as well. And thank you, Mohammed, for your presentation, and hope to see you next time on our meetings in Turkmenistan, on any meeting on biodiversity, on leopard, on manul, and everybody are welcome. Thank you. If you have any comments, questions, we are glad and ready to respond.
No, yes, very nice to meet you, and thank you, Shirin Aknabad, for sharing the information. And we're excited to learn more as you progress it and follow your project. So thank you very much. Great, thank you.
Thank you, Claude. Thank you.
Okay, it seems there is no other question. So invite all of us to the meeting is Emma when? On 14th?
14th at
14th
3 o'clock Kyrgyz time.
Okay, Kyrgyzstan time. But you send also the email to my working group.
Yeah.
All of us try to share. So
yeah, I can resend it, I think maybe tomorrow or Thursday to the group again.
Yeah, maybe a bit closer to the date.
Yeah.
Could be useful. Okay, thank you everyone. And
thank you so much.
See you. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
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 Thank you.